Good morning and welcome back to Spurs Latest. I am your host, as always, Trip Graham. So happy to have you here today. So much to talk about. It is Game 4 tonight. Spurs versus Knicks NBA Finals Game 4 tonight in Madison Square Garden. Let's get into it. A lot of storylines going into tonight. And, one of the funniest things about the NBA Finals, it could be the best basketball on the floor. The off-the-court drama fuels everything. And that has definitely been in Madison Square Garden in New York. Politics. The mayor. It's been going crazy. Mandani, Trump, definitely holding the sports world hostage as being the number one talked about thing in terms of other things other than this game. So let's talk about it. So, Game 4 tonight, Spurs versus Knicks, and Game 3 was social theater absolutely for the bigwigs and the elites. Donald Trump was in attendance for Game 3. Crowd made their presence known. There was boos for Donald Trump. Mandani was there, and it was quite the scene. I mean, Madison Square Garden was rocking. But I have a few thoughts about it, so we're going to get into everything here. So, don't know if you guys saw, Donald Trump did see the game, and then he went after the game saying it was entertainment. He said it was left-leaning entertainment, whatever that means. Mandani was at the game. Really awful. After the game, there was a few Spurs fans that were actually beat up by New York Knicks fans. Really don't know how it stemmed. I really hope it's not just because they're Spurs fans. I mean, that just has no place for us in sports at all. Just absolutely insane. Mandani called for fans to never do that again. They'll be prosecuted, which they should be. So pretty insane after the game. Game 3 of some Spurs fans getting beat up by New York Knicks fans. There's no place for that in sports. It's sports. It's entertainment. These are grown men playing kids basketball that we're blessed to watch and have entertainment from. But remember, it's entertainment. It's not that serious. So I really hate seeing that from New York Knicks fans. It just has no place in the game at all. Those videos were wild watching after Game 3. Of New York Knicks fans out on the streets. Really, really hated that so much. Gave me a little more social of, obviously we're huge Spurs fans, but gave me of like, I don't want the Knicks to win. That it was more of me being a huge Spurs fan. It was like, I don't want the Knicks to win after seeing that. So really didn't like that. And we go on. Game 4, I mean, I'm happy Mandani, did, do a press release, announced that, hey, watch out, do not commit that stuff. Hope Mandani's in-game there for tonight. As well, he did make an announcement. He had standing room tickets for Game 3. Love that. I do love that from him. So, yeah, a lot of off-the-floor antics. The biggest wigs in sports were there. Ben Stiller, Timothy Chalamet, my favorite guy, Larry David. Larry David is literally my favorite celebrity in all of Hollywood, by like a mile. I just love seeing him at that game. Anyone calling Larry David a fake fan and just showing up for these games clearly doesn't know Larry David. Larry David's been there for all the bad years. I mean, if anybody that's a fake fan, it's Timothy Chalamet or Ben Stiller. They weren't around watching the games during the Emmanuel Mudiay days. Or the RJ Barrett days. Yeah, they weren't watching those games. I really hope that, atmosphere is going to be, again, crazy. Game 4 tonight in Madison Square Garden. We're going to talk about that. So who needs a leg up tonight? So we clearly need Wemby to start acting like himself, like he was in Game 3. Game 3 was just dominance from him, but there is clearly, obviously, another level to Wemby's game that he can unlock. 32 points in Game 3. he's going to need that same performance for Game 4. Like, and without a doubt, he will need that performance for Game 4. So how do we get there? It starts with the guards. I mean, the guards had 28 assists and 8 turnovers in that Game 3, and that's exactly what you need to do to win. You don't lose a lot of games when you have 28 assists and 8 turnovers. That is actually exactly what you need to win an NBA game. And that is huge from Stephon Castle, who has been seen as a turnover machine this season. Obviously, a huge part of his game that he needs to work on. So I need Stephon Castle to, really hone his game. He had an unbelievable game in Game 3 getting to the basket. I mean, they could not stop him or Harper getting to the basket. I really believe that Wemby was wearing them down in the paint, and it opened up the lanes for Harper and Castle to get to the lane. I really want to see more of that going into Game 4, as it will. I know Julian Champagnie didn't have the best game ever, but it will start opening up threes for Champagnie and Fox, and then Harper and Castle driving to the rim or taking that three. So I really like how the ball movement is flowing. Our defense is just stellar. I mean, we play lockdown defense. There's not a lot of teams that can play as defense as hard as us. For everyone who complained that there is no defense in the NBA, clearly you're not watching the series, because these guys are, our Spurs team is phenomenal at defense. I mean, the switching is insane. Then how Wemby just scares players from coming in the paint is exactly what you want from a 7+ footer. It's everything I want. Wemby needs to have, his career game tonight. It's the NBA Finals. You need to have career games every night. I don't think that's crazy to say, but I'm looking for like a 30, 10, and 5 assist night from him. So 30, 10, 5. If you're looking for the sports betting books, that's what you should lock in. 30, 10, and 5. He only had 8 rebounds, though, last game. I got screwed on that, so looking for a little more from him in the next game. But those are semantics. We don't really care about those. So what do you guys think? How do you think that Wemby will respond to Game 4? I mean, if we win this game, series it's right back at neutral. We can't lose this game. These are can't lose territory. Madison Square Garden will be rocking. And I have a few thoughts about Madison Square Garden, so let me talk about that. So, there's been a lot of talk about Madison Square Garden, the atmosphere there. Tickets over $1,000 a piece for standing room. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it is really limiting from the normal fans from getting in there. You think of the craziness of fans, you think of San Antonio, you think of Thunder, you think Boston Celtics. Really good fan bases. The New York Knicks fan base, let me say it, it's kind of corporate. It feels corporate. Obviously, tickets being $1,000 a piece, it's really pricing out the middleman, the middle guy, the little guy. The masses. Only corporate elite really can afford these tickets, and it really stinks because the normal fan base isn't getting in. Yeah, I believe Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller are great fans, but the noise isn't coming from those first 4 rows. It's really coming from the rafters, and those aren't the fans that are there. So, what do you guys think? I mean, with this atmosphere, a lot of the antics, Trump, Mandani, extra security, the ticket prices, it feel like it really jolted the Spurs in that atmosphere. I think that the Knicks were actually hurt more by that atmosphere than our Spurs. So that is a huge thing of going into Game 4 that I feel really good about, is that the Spurs really dealt with that atmosphere really well, and they weren't rattled. That's what I need going into Game 4. I think the Knicks felt like they had a certain expectation. One of the things about Knicks fans I was thinking about going into Game 3 is, like, did they want to be part of the atmosphere to get their team to win, or did they want to be there for when it happens? Like, when it happened, they clinched the NBA Finals, going up 3-0. That's how I felt that from that fan base. in Game 3. They went silent in the third quarter. I don't know if you could tell, but they were silent in that third quarter when we were coming back. And that's not what a fan base needs to do. That's a corporate fan base right there. So I think that this atmosphere actually really helps the Spurs. And yeah, I really believe that. I mean, the Knicks fans were not in it when they needed, they were trying to claw them back. The fans were not in it. So I really had that feeling like the Knicks fans were there for, hey, I want to be there for when it happens, of when we go up 3-0 and, no team has ever come back for 3-0, versus I want to be there to rally my team over this opponent. And, we got the job done, because I don't think that it really was not good for the Knicks. I really think in terms of the team base, it was not good for their team. They didn't really get anything from the fans. They just wanted to be there when it went up 3-0. They already counted their chickens before they hatched. And that's how I really feel about that. So what do you guys think? How do you think the Madison Square Garden affects us versus them? I think it actually helps our atmosphere. We've already played against the craziest fans in the league, some of the loudest fans, which is OKC. And now we go into the Garden, and it's a corporate crowd. I think we played a crazier crowd in OKC. What do you guys think? Well, last thing I want to talk about is, I think, the craziest story that has come out of college football or NCAA in forever. I mean, this goes back to as crazy as the NCAA is nuts for, suspending Cam Newton. All right, so let's start from the top. Texas Tech quarterback Brandon Swarsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA that will let him play during the 2026 season. He received this decision from a judge on Monday morning, 1 week after hearing. He's going to be sitting out his first 2 games against Alabama Christian and Oregon State. He will be returning for the home opener for the Big 12 opener on September 18th. Oh, he couldn't have done anything that wrong. Yeah. He was betting on his own games, and the NCAA has no power to enforce their own rules. NCAA throws him out of the NCAA for betting on his own games. He is back a week later as the Texas Tech says, nope, he's playing, and you have no control. This is really, really bad for the NCAA and the future of the sport. As part of this, so let's go back to how the court ruled. This is just absolutely bogus what the court's doing. It's crazy what they ruled on. The court decided that Swarsby would suffer probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if he was not allowed to participate in college athletics, with his case proceeding through the legal system. The judge ruled that Swarsby would lose access to high-level training and the ability to maximize his athletic potential, complicating his decision to enter the 2026 NFL supplementary draft. He bet on his own games. Swarsby was ruled permanently ineligible by the NCAA after admitting to placing thousands of bets over 4 years, including multiple on his own team when he redshirting in Indiana. And obviously, anybody that bets on their own sports cannot participate in NCAA football. It is just one of the wildest stories I've ever seen. And NCAA has no jurisdiction over it. They can't enforce it. Judges are standing by to help these teams in their local districts, and the NCAA can't do shit about it. What do you guys think? I think it's awful. I mean, we're in the Wild West of the NCAA, and now there's clearly no rules. I mean, what if a player ends his eligibility and just the team says, nope, he's coming back next season? What are they going to do? NCAA doesn't have any jurisdiction over this anymore, and it's going to be really bad going forward. Well, I just keep up with that story of the NCAA versus Texas Tech, because Texas Tech, I mean, there's reports that other teams don't want to play them now. What if, they forfeit against the Texas Tech? Texas Tech is going to beat up the Big 12, clearly. But, it's insane. It's absolute insanity where we're getting into college football. These are just paid players. We're using judges to go at the NCAA talking about how he's eligible. Dude, betting on his own games. He should be thrown out of the league. Like, this happens in every professional sport, so we throw him out of the league. Insane. Well, we'll talk more about tomorrow, but tonight it's Spurs versus Knicks. I will see you game 4 when we win. I said that on game 3 before game 3, and we won, so I'll keep up that streak alive. Go Spurs, go, and I will see you in the next one.